In seventh grade, I was a skinny girl in a civilian school in a North Carolina town that housed 40,000 Marines. My English teacher made us memorize Alfred, Lord Tennyson's poem, Ulysses. Written in 1833, it's a dramatic monologue of the main character of the Greek epic Odysseus. I remember being particularly struck with this part of the poem. I am a part of all that I have met, yet all experience is an arch wherethrough gleams that untraveled world, whose margin fades forever and forever when I move. Ulysses was a warrior king, a military commander. He spent years traveling, some of them lost and shipwrecked. I was reared a Marine Corps brat. My dad was what they call a Mustang. He entered as a private and was later sent to officer candidate school, where he was commissioned as a second lieutenant. This was all during the Vietnam War. My father liked to say the Marine Corps took a poor white boy and turned me into an officer and a gentleman. While the untraveled world was still large and looming in my life, I had nevertheless traveled quite a bit. With all my father's required training, we traveled Route 66, more times than I can now remember. We bounced between Camp Pendleton in California and Quantico in Virginia a bunch of times. We also had stints at some of the other bases in California before being transferred to Hawaii. I knew all about that margin fading when I moved. Hawaii was a kid's dream. I was 7 when we moved there and 10 when we left. What a glorious place to have had a childhood. We lived on base and I was enrolled in Mokapu Elementary School on the Kaneohe Air Station, now known as Marine Corps Base, Hawaii. In 5th grade, we did a unit on culture and social studies class. The book and my teacher talked about personality and identity. And that chapter was an actual photograph of a group of girls that had been manipulated so that everyone looked like everyone else at various ages. The caption was something to the effect of how boring the world would be if we were all alike. Indeed. I went to something like 5 different elementary schools, 1 junior high, and 2 high schools. That doesn't include the various preschools I attended. After Hawaii, we moved back to Quantico and then to Camp Lejeune, where I attended junior high and was forced to memorize Ulysses, which I still remember all these years later. I was a new kid a lot. My military brat history is an important part of who I am. Invariably, I mention it when asked for an author's bio. It comes up in job interviews and when I meet people. I don't talk like the folks do where I live, so I'm often asked where I'm from. Anyone who is a military brat knows what a loaded question that is. Where I was born, the base I liked most, where I went to high school, where my family is from, where I live now. These things are part of our identity, but there is so much more to identity. Identity, sociologically speaking, is those things that make up who we are. For military personnel, their spouses, and their children, the experiences we have moving from one culture to another affects our identity. When someone says, "Tell me about you," what do you mention? Your military service? Your occupation? Your hobbies? Identity is these things and more. It includes language. It includes what we think about ourselves and what others think of us. Yes, identity can be externally applied. The military identifies you as a dependent. Your school identifies you as a student. Your religion identifies you as a worshiper. Identity is also internally applied. I identify myself as a mother, a writer, a daughter, an employee, and a child of the universe. I am a part of all that I have met. Tennyson understood identity and how it is acquired. Identity encapsulates the other graces but is also separate. We are part of all that we have met. Who we are is both internally and externally applied, and we wear those labels. We fit ourselves into those boxes, while also celebrating the fact that our experiences have taken us out of the boxes we were born into and introduced us to others. We are an amalgamation of cultures and experiences. Our identity is rich and varied. I am a part of all that I have met, yet all experience is an arch wherethrough gleams that untraveled world whose margin fades forever and forever when I move. The Grace Project explores gender, religion, race, identity, culture, and ethnicity as it pertains to the military family. We call these things our graces.